So you want to start learning music. First of all, why? I don't even know why you would want to do this to yourself, but I'm not here to judge. I'm mostly just curious, but regardless of that, let's take a look at some of your possible options. Before you actually compare these, you should probably think about what you actually want to do with music. Is it simply having fun while you play your favorite songs? Is it because you just want a hobby? Is it because you heard that it will somehow improve your brain function? By the way, I haven't looked into those studies that say that, but personally, every time I play, I feel like I lose intelligence, mainly due to the damage done by the cortisol increases from self-judgment and possible psychotic episodes of rage. By the way, music is amazing and you should really look into it. Anyway, let's get into the first option. Drums. What can I say about this instrument? As someone whose very first instrument was the drums, I am no stranger to spending thousands of hours on something only to be basically unable to do the thing I actually want to do, which is write my own original music. But man, the drums really give you something that nothing else in music can give you. And I'm not just talking about being made fun of for not being a real musician and for being just a nape who smashes shit, having to carry 30 million tons of gear while the singer is skipping his way to the dispensary to spend his 15-euro paycheck from the gig that we didn't even actually get paid for. That's something that drums gives you is, well, first of all, obviously rhythm, timing, groove, etc. But in my opinion, the most important one is that you learn the structure and flow of songs better than anything else. There is no better way to learn about song sections and how they connect and change. Another huge plus for the drums is that they're also just extremely fun to play along with music. Also, if you ever want to join a band, it might look you be even easier to find one than if you played bass, with the added bonus that you won't get shamed for slightly mistiming a note. You'll just get silent looks of disgust, which, actually, now that I think about it, might be even worse. My least favorite part about the drums is that you really can't practice as often as you'd like, cause in a lot of ways, even if you practice at reasonable hours, you still annoy the shit out of people, and even if you do something like get an electronic kit, it still doesn't really fix the issue. In fact, I'd argue that an electronic kit is even worse, cause not only do you still make a lot of noise, but you don't even actually get to feel like you're playing the instrument that you want to play. My other least favorite part is that if you ever actually want to express yourself through harmony and lyrics and, well, honestly actual songs, then you are severely limited in your ability to do that. No disrespect to any solo drum work, of course. Regardless, if I remove the exaggeration of the previous 2 points, I believe that the drums is a fantastic instrument that has a lot of merit for being someone's first and will forever be my favorite. Another instrument you might consider is the guitar. Now, here you got the option between electric, acoustic, and classical. If you go acoustic or classical, the trap is usually that you learn 4 open chords and you never actually progress past that, so you convince yourself you need to drop $2,000 on the high-end acoustic because your cheap starting guitar is clearly the reason your finger picking sucks. If you go electric, the trap is tone chasing. Instead of actually sitting down and practicing new chords or timing or working on your alternate picking, you buy way too many pedals, mostly just stacking different distortion or fuzz pedals, convincing yourself that the reason your riffs sound muddy is because you haven't found the exact right fuzz yet, and definitely not because your technique is sloppy. And yeah, the calluses you get when you start out are definitely a pain, but honestly it's all worth it, because later on, you will be able to completely hate yourself for still not being able to do pinch harmonics consistently, despite it being such a seemingly easy technique. Bass. Yes, the bass. The classic trope is that bassists are just failed guitarists who got demoted in order to actually be in a band, which is funny, I guess, but it's also incredibly ironic, because the bass is one of, if not the most important foundational pieces of the entire band. It's what connects rhythm to harmony and melody, and it's also the bridge between the guitarist and the drummer. But here's the catch. If you mostly just want to be glazed, which you'd be surprised by how many people's main motivation for learning music and joining a band is just that, you are completely invisible to most of the audience. Nobody cares what you're doing, not even your bandmates. That is, of course, right up until the exact moment you hit a wrong note and suddenly the entire song collapses and everyone looks at you like you just destroyed all their hopes and dreams. On the flip side, if you actually get good at bass, you basically become a legendary Pokemon. Finding a good bassist is so ridiculously hard that you will never have to look for a band. Bands will practically fight each other to recruit you. You can take advantage of this by changing bands every 2 weeks and being late to rehearsals, pissing everyone off and never actually contributing to any of them significantly. Piano. Okay, so piano is honestly the GOAT and there is just no debating. First of all, it is by far the absolute best way to learn music theory. It's so fundamental that if you ever seriously study a classical instrument, they will at some point ask you to learn a little bit of piano. But in my opinion, the main advantage of this is the versatility. You sit at a keyboard and you can basically do anything from making hip-hop beats to playing synth in a psy-rock band. The biggest negative is that it's probably the easiest instrument to be put to shame with. You think you are finally getting good, and then you see some random video online of a Vietnamese 3-year-old child playing flawlessly, and you just want to quit music altogether. That's a problem with all of the instruments, but I just feel like with piano it's even worse. Anyway, after you make your choice of instrument, I recommend starting with simply practicing every day, even if it's just for 20 minutes. Just make sure you actually set a consistent habit that you will inevitably break after 3 weeks and hate yourself for it, and then get annoyed a few months later because you can't learn a song you like, which is because you never practice. The last thing is optional, but I found most musicians do this with incredible success.